Hi, I'm Vicky from Rockstars and Royalty. Today I'm going to show you how to make a birdcage veil. Birdcage veils are really popular for weddings still, especially vintage inspired weddings. The net comes in a huge variety of colours, so if you're a more traditional bride you can choose from white or ivory. If you're less traditional, or if you want to wear your birdcage veil not for a wedding, you can wear it to a ball or just for a night out. You can choose whatever colour you want, and you can choose whatever decoration you want as well. So this one that I'm going to show you how to make is pale pink net with Swarovski crystals at the edge, decorated with a pink paper flower. But you can decorate them with all sorts of things. I've used vintage brooches, I've used lace, I've used bows, whatever takes your fancy and suits your style. To make your birdcage veil, you will need your net. Now this is either called hat net or Russian veiling. You can find it easily online or in fabric and craft stores. It comes in a huge number of colours, including some really cool metallic colours. You'll need a comb. I prefer a metal comb to a plastic comb as I find they stay in hair better. I get mine on Etsy. You'll need some ribbon to cover the edge of the comb with and a needle and thread to sew it on with. And then you'll need whatever you want to decorate your veil with. You can either leave it just the plain ribbon if you want to, or you can add decorations onto the ribbon. Today I've got these beautiful little paper flowers by Petaloo that I'm going to use. And because there's some extra flowers in there, I'm actually going to take 2 more combs and use the ribbon to put the flowers on other combs so I can wear them and mix and match them with the birdcage veil to create different looks. If you want to add sparkle to the edge of your veil, you'll need some little flat back Swarovski crystals and some gemstone glue. First, cut a piece of net that is 22.5 inches or 57 centimetres in length. This net is too wide for the birdcage veils that I make, so next I'm going to cut it down so it's 8 inches or 20 centimetres wide. You can work out how many rows you need to cut off and just trim it down to there. So I'm going to cut 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows off of one side. You can experiment with cutting it to different widths and different lengths to get the shape that you want. But this is the standard, the 22.5 by 8 is the standard size that I tend to use. Once you've got it to the width you want, fold it in half, and this uncut edge is going to be the edge of the veil. So start from your uncut edge, take your scissors and just angle those ends in slightly. And when you get to the top, you just want to cut a curve. So now each end angles in and then curves up to the cut edge. This uncut edge is going to be the edge of the veil that sits over your face. You can either leave this on there and end up with quite a defined look at the edge of your veil, or if you want a softer edge you can cut it off just either side of this little row here, and that gives a softer edge. I do both depending on the look I'm after, and sometimes I'll even cut sort of a zigzag shape for something different as well. To add the crystals, I'm going to use a toothpick to put the glue where I want it, and then a pair of tweezers to put the crystals where I want them. So my usual method of blinging stuff up. Now don't start right at the end because you're going to be gathering this bit. So I'm going to do just a crystal on every other one, and I'm using a piece of paper underneath so I don't glue it to my desk. And then I think I'm going to do 2 rows. I want to do 2 or do I want to do 3? I'm going to add a 3rd row as well. Once you've got all your crystals on, you'll need to leave it to dry. Once your crystals have dried, if you're using crystals, take your needle and your thread, and I just use a single thread for this because I find a double can get knotted up really easily. And then what you want to do is, starting at one end, put your needle in and start gathering. Don't worry about these little bits sort of sticking off the edge because we can trim them down later. Once you've gathered up both ends along the top and up to the other end, it looks something like this. Now what you want to do is take your metal comb, and they come quite flat, so I like to just give it a slight bend with my fingers just to make it a little bit more head shaped. Hold one edge and then pull the other edge so it's gathered to the same width as your comb, and at that point I fasten it off a bit, but I don't cut my thread. And now I can hold it in place and start stitching the net onto your comb. This doesn't have to be tidy because we're going to go round and cover this whole thing in ribbon any minute now. This is purely just to hold it in place. So I'm going round the top, up the gap between the teeth, and just looping it around like that. Like I said, it doesn't need to be neat. This is what it looks like at the minute. We've got the veil gathered and just sewn really roughly onto the comb at the top. Next step is to add ribbon around the top of the comb to make it a lot neater. Before we put the ribbon on, I'm just going to trim some of these little loose bits that are sticking up over the top. Then I'm going to take the ribbon and put it behind and fold it around over the top. If you're just doing a plain ribbon and you're not going to decorate it, do this on the back so it's hidden. I do this on the front when I decorate it, so the join's hidden under whatever decoration we put on top of it. To finish it, I've just trimmed the ribbon and turned that little end underneath. And now we're going to sew it into place. To sew the ribbon in place, I start by joining the top. You can tuck any little ends of your net in as you go along. If you're going to decorate your comb, you don't have to worry too much about this part being neat. If you're going to leave it just as ribbon, I'd use a clear thread and stitch as neatly and as invisibly as you can. Make sure you're getting the ribbon at the front and at the back. So that's our comb with the ribbon on. So it's really neat on the back and then a little messier on the front, and that's where the join is, because we are now going to cover that up with our pretty flowers. I've also covered the other two combs in ribbon, so let's decorate them. To decorate my birdcage veil and my combs, I'm using these pretty pink flowers from the Botanica collection by Petaloo. They've got this gorgeous iridescent glitter on the edge. Oh, they're so pretty and sparkly. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to sew these on because they're made from a kind of papery fabric, so I think I'm going to get my glue gun out and glue them on instead. Okay, let's decide how to arrange them. I think I'd like to do this big one on its own on one of the combs, and then that pink one, oh I love that colour with those crystals, and maybe the little baby one on that comb, and then those two together on that comb. And then that gives me two separate combs that I can wear as well as the veil, or I can wear all three together for a really dramatic different look. So I'm going to fire up my glue gun and glue them on just like that. Like I said, normally I'd sew things on, but because these are made of what feels like paper, I was worried they were going to tear as I stitch them. The last job to do with the birdcage veil is to steam it into shape. I have a full tutorial showing you how to steam your veil and how to wear it, so follow the link above and check that out, and I'll be back in a minute to show you the finished look for these three together. love that this is a mix and match look. You can wear the veil on its own, or you can add the extra cones to give a lot more fullness of the flowers. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope you feel inspired to create something for yourself. I love to see pictures of things people have created inspired by my tutorials. Come and find me on Facebook, Rockstars and Royalty, and send me your pictures. If you enjoyed this and you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to my channel. Please click the little bell so you get notifications. I'll be back soon with more tutorials, more rocked up frocks, more videos about the fashion industry, and don't forget that every Sunday night now you can see my weekly behind the scenes vlog.